more people coming, but I always try to be mindful of the time, and I know people get hungry, even though we have a whole platter full of food here, a table full of food, so please imbibe. I'm Mary Lou Carolyn, and I am the proud director of this wonderful library filled with incredible patrons and an even more incredible staff that supports everything that we do and all the harebrained schemes I come up with, and I am so appreciative to all of them for being tolerant, for being participatory, and being enthusiastic about making some positive changes for the community, to revision and repurpose the library space into something a little bit different, to freshen it up, to contemporize it, and this is one of the examples of that. This has been a very long few months of construction. We started this process of applying for the construction grant at the beginning of last year, I believe, correct, Suzanne? and then getting the award for the construction grant, and then starting a construction project along with the same time that we received the Small Library Smart Spaces grant. And they were going on simultaneously. So there's a whole electrical project that was happening along with this active learning space that was being created. So some of the folks I'm going to mention kind of overlapped their duties, and we may have taken a little advantage of that, but we're very appreciative. So I have some folks that I really want to thank, and when at the end of this, if we could raise a glass to them, I would really appreciate it, because one of the challenges and opportunities that this grant provided us was the fact that through our special guest, Beth Aguchi, who's here from Seattle with OCLC, which is an online computer learning center, we were awarded $5,000. And the $5,000 was to create an active learning space in a place in your library that already exists. And it cannot include labor. It can only include materials and supplies, like paint and elements for the decoration, but also for the implementation, computer games, things like that for the teens. So that was a real challenge, and I can tell you 1,000% that our community came up and stepped up to meet this challenge. And none of this would be here if it wasn't for the folks that I'm going to mention right now. And many of them are standing around you. So when I mention your name, if you would please raise your hand so people can make the connection, because you are a community volunteer that really went above and beyond, and we are so appreciative. This idea was brought up to a couple of interior designers in our community, and I could come up with ideas, but the actual, where are things going to go, how do you measure stuff out, not my forte. So when you bring along people who actually can sketch something out on graph paper and tracing paper and give us some ideas, it's really incredible. So several months ago, I spoke with Linda Gayton with Interior Designs, and got my very first sketch and idea and spacing, and was able to purchase furniture that would fit into the space, and that's a challenge because you don't always know. And then the whole idea started to develop even more with Jamie Scaduto and Amy Morin with Design Contract Services. That are patrons of our library and volunteers. Thank you so much. We utilize the color schemes, you'll notice, are from our brand new logo. So you'll see the color schemes of the chairs, and the color scheme on the wall came from that, and you give creative people a couple of parameters like that, and this is what you get, and it's pretty awesome. So thank you. You folks are really incredible. There's a lot of paint that went into this project. Richard Schofield from Home Depot donated all of the paint, and he was very supportive of this project and all that it entailed. Tim Patterson of Patterson Painting painted this wild dark blue wall. And then when we saw that it was really dark blue, we thought something else needed to go in that place. And in came Carly Nielsen and Megan Nielsen, our muralists. Megan are part of this design that really took shape, took the colors of our new logo and just added some energy into the space, which is, to me, the graphic depiction of kids and teens in this space, and bringing energy back into the library in a different way. So I thank you so much for your artistic abilities and for bringing color and light into our space. Joe Stankiewicz from Stankiewicz Construction here. Very dapper in his suit. Is the reason that all of this furniture is actually in some sort of form. It came and flattened in boxes and was put together way before the space was put together. So thank you to the community for putting up with the stack of furniture that was sitting here the entire time. Josh Madden, who is a colleague of Jamie and Amy from Tandis Carpeting, actually donated these carpet squares, and we think they look pretty cool because it kind of sets the tone, sets the place. And here's where some overlap comes in, because David Lagas from Landmark Flooring, who is not here tonight, but who was the person who helped to adapt all of our stations into adding technology into all of the desktops, and he fixed all of the carpeting all throughout, and he laid the carpeting in the new study space and the new reworked staff room. He overheard us talking about this grant and the fact that we can purchase certain products, but we can't pay for any labor. He lives outside of Albany. So he came over and he says, you know, libraries have always helped me out in my life, and they have been a real reason why I am where I am today. And he has been so grateful. And so he said, I will come down and install this for free for you. And he did that a couple of weeks ago. So that was really nice. So thank you. Yet another overlap is Andrew Gennaro is here from PowerGen Electric. Who up until a mere, 20 minutes ago was hanging out of the ceiling. Andy has been working with us on the construction grant project that has been revamping all of the electrical throughout the building, him and his team. And then because he just happened to be here while the smart space was being developed, he ended up installing our TV and hiding our cords and generally cleaning up just about everything. And today he installed this new cool track lighting here, which is going to have multicolored globes in the next few days that our board purchased for us for this space, and it kind of goes nicely with the movement of the mural. So Andy, thank you for riding the fence on both of those and for putting up with it. The Friends of the Cornwall Library are always here for us, no matter what we need, and there are so many aspects of this project that they supported us on and continue to support us with, and we thank you so very much for that, Friends of the Library, the best friends group. Our teen advisory group, the TUT as we call it, there's a few members roaming around in here, really helped us to think out some of this space and think about how the space might be utilized, what they would like to see in it. And so we tried to meet their needs as much as we possibly could, and we'll continue to as the project grows and our the usage of it grows and the different needs that they will have. So you know, often if you look in libraries, a teen space is like a beanbag in the middle of the floor. It's not a necessarily a dedicated space or a purposeful space, but it's an acknowledgement that we need a space, but this is where we can fit you, you know. And so this is a dedicated space, and it's a respectful space for the teens from 3 o'clock on in the morning and the early afternoon. It's an active learning place for everybody to use for technology training. So it's been a really big effort on their part to help me out with this and to be willing to move along with the process and keep me posted on how they would like to see this transform. I want to thank Stephen Fisher, if he's here. Yes, thank you, Stephen, for the lovely plants. I was complaining that outlets were showing, and a few minutes later I ended up with a beautiful plant from Merit Floor, so I thank you so much. That's very sweet and lovely. And I have a very special thank you and a toast as well to one of my colleagues, Brenda Goldfarb, who is the queen of moving things around and moving people around. And while I was busy working on this construction project and all the aspects of it, and the staff was busy working with all of those aspects of it as well, this project needed to get jump-started. And so Brenda, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because we would not be anywhere without your dogged determination and enthusiasm and talking everybody into everything, and I thank you so much for that.
Thank
you. And Beth Iguchi, I have had the opportunity of working with so many times in my life, and I just love OCLC with all its creative aspects of bringing libraries into the 21st century. And when this grant became available, and I thought, oh my gosh, we have to repurpose our space without, really, without it, popping out a wall and expanding. We have to repurpose what we have. And so when we applied for it, that was the goal. My wheels started turning, and how can we make this happen? And so I want to thank you, Betha, and all of your colleagues for bringing us through an 18-month training process, actually. It was a $5,000 grant. We worked for it. But they do an incredible amount of training for library staff to get into the communities, learn how to work with communities, learn how to ask for help and assistance, and get community buy-in, because this library, as any library, is your space. It is a public library, belongs to you. And so we listen and we hear you, and we hope that you like the changes that have been happening in this place. And I thank you, Betha, because you really got the ball rolling with this by awarding us this grant. And so I'd like to, she's going to tell us a little bit more about the Smart Space Grant, but if you all would join me in raising a glass of toast to all of our community, all of you volunteers, all of your blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen. It did not go unnoticed. We are very, very appreciative, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping to make these dreams come true. Thank you.
Here, here. Yep, yep.